Mantras 4 to 8 in brief. What is the summary? This is another section we're starting now of the Isopanisad. We will know the Lord through his revelation and by developing the qualities of an Uttama Bhakta. So this section now, up until now, we've talked about the Lord's relationship with the world and how that knowledge changes us, the Ishavasya principle, the result of following the Ishavasya principle, the result of neglecting that principle. And now we will be speaking about the Lord himself. What are the qualities of Krishna? What is the qualities of the absolute truth? So very wonderful, um, wonderful section. So mantra 4, the inconceivable Lord is known only through revelation. Mantra 5, Krishna's inconceivable potencies. Mantra 6, vision of the Mahabhagavata. Mantra 7, consciousness of a Mahabhagavata. Mantra 8, Krishna's qualities known to the Mahabhagavatas. So imagine this is an Upanishad, it's one of the philosophical texts, but it's telling the qualities of a Mahabhagavat. So Prabhupada, everything that he gives us is so relevant, how we can become a pure devotee of Krishna, how we can become very close to Krishna. So here, as I mentioned, describes the nature of the Supreme Lord. Mantra 4. Anejadekam manasa javiyo naina deva apnuvan purvamarshad tadhavato jnanatyeta tasmin apo matarishva dadhati. Although fixed in his abode, the personality of Godhead is swifter than the mind and can overcome all others running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him. Although in one place he controls those who supply the air and rain, he surpasses all in excellence. So Krishna is fixed in his abode, yet he's swifter than the mind. He can overcome all others running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him. And although he's in one place, he controls everything. He, in one place he's present, but he controls the air and the rain in every single square inch of this universe. He surpasses all in excellence. To love Krishna, one must know him. But how can tiny, limited beings know God? Mantra form informs us that although the Lord is always situated in his own abode, he cannot be approached by the mind or even by the powerful demigods unless he reveals himself to us. We cannot imagine or understand his transcendental abode or activities. So, it's telling us the importance of the descending process. By the ascending process, we cannot know Krishna, because Krishna is beyond the senses. He's beyond our limited, puny senses and capabilities. And here we see the image of Mother Yashoda looking into Krishna's mouth. Though she is the mother of God, and she's, not an ordinary jiva, she's, Krishna's most intimate servitor, and it's not possible for her to fall down into this world. So she has immense capacity. She's part of Krishna's internal potency. She has immense capacity to understand things far beyond the understanding of the jivas. Yet even she, Mother Yashoda, cannot understand how the entire universe is within the mouth of Krishna. And even more so, how within the universe that is within the mouth of Krishna, Krishna and Mother Yashoda are seen within that universe. So within Krishna, this pastime is the direct illustration of the Om Purna Mada Purnam verse, how Krishna is full, and even within him, there's all these complete universes. And within those complete universes, she's seeing that Krishna is there with Mother Yashoda, and she's seeing herself peering into the mouth of Krishna. This is the amazing part of Krishna. Why we don't know him? The Lord's eternal abode is situated within his spiritual or internal potency. It is only when the individual spirit souls, known as his marginal energy, desire to enjoy separately from him, that they are placed within this material or external energy. Thus, when we engage ourselves in his service, desiring to dovetail our activities for his enjoyment, he naturally becomes inclined to again reveal himself and our eternal relationship with him in the spiritual world. So, yesterday was Balaram Purnima. That's why I think all of us are a bit exhausted today because it's a late night festival. And yesterday was Balaram Purnima, and this is actually one of the prayers on Balaram Purnima, that may Lord Balaram allow us to come back into the spiritual world, right? To revive our eternal service to Krishna. Only by Lord Balaram's mercy can we revive that eternal relationship and service that we have with Krishna. There's no other way. There's no other means. Only by this process. So that is the prayer, that by studying Isopanisad, by studying these books, we can very easily enter into Krishna's spiritual world. Of course, even that easy is not so easy. It takes time, it takes effort, a lot of intense spiritual practice. But if the desire is there, we will move in that direction. And Krishna may give us glimpses of his transcendental world. He may give us that realization that how wonderful it is, how special it is, and in comparison, how meaningless this material world is, how temporary, transient, and meaningless this world is. So we are all engaged in some service or the other in the temple. We have this service, that service. We're all engaged in different services. But the specific services that we are doing in the material world are also temporary. But the mood and the advancement that we make is not temporary. And that's why the devotee aspires for his eternal service. That Krishna, please also give me my eternal service, because these services will change and they're very important. They're also in some ways, in one way, also part of our eternal service. But the devotees attached, the more advanced devotees attached to being a servant of Krishna, and he's less attached to the particular service that he or she receives, because they understand that that service that we receive, 100 years from now, I won't be here in ISKCON Naperville. So the service that I receive here will change anyway. It will change because I won't be in this body to serve in that temple or in that role or in that, So what does that title or role matter? What matters is if our eternal relationship with Krishna is being revived. So we can know him, and knowing him means understanding our eternal relationship with him. And that is the prayer. That is what we are praying to Lord Balaram, that please allow us to once again, serve Krishna in whatever way we were serving him in the spiritual world. So here in the purport, Prabhupada is so nicely explaining Krishna's different energies and the relationship between the energies and the energetic, the concept of energies, which is very important in our Gaudiya Vaishnava thought, because this is the you could say the core of Gaudiya Vaishnava teaching, and that is Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. Why is it so important? because you'll see that unless you have this philosophy, you cannot understand the relationship between God and the world and the living beings. So here's what the problem is, that in most of the religious traditions, this problem is described as immanence and transcendence. If you say that the Lord is fully transcendent, fully beyond this world, and has no connection with this world, then how do you explain where this world comes from? Right? How do you explain that Krishna is the creator of everything and that we are, part and parcel and we are, servants of Krishna, we should serve him? If he's completely divested from the world that he creates, then what is the relationship with it? And if you say that Krishna is immanent in this world, meaning Krishna is the creator of this world, it's his energy, it's part of him, right? Which is one philosophy, that this world is part of God. It's like the body of God. Um, then how do you say that Krishna is perfect and pure? Because the fact is that that this world has so many faults in it, right? It has so many mistakes in it, problems. So if you say Krishna is present in this world, then the problems of this world are Krishna's problems. So thus, to resolve this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Jiva Goswami says, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Krishna is simultaneously one with this world and separate from it. How is that possible? Because this world is Krishna's energy. The energy is simultaneously one with the energetic, yet it is different. So here we see the image of fire. Fire is burning, and fire is one with heat, yet it is different than heat. You can sit next to a fire and enjoy the heat, but you can't sit in a fire and enjoy the heat. So though the heat is the same as the fire, the light is the same as the fire, still the heat, light, and fire are three distinct things. There's no meaning of heat without fire or fire without heat, yet heat and fire are two different things. Though inconceivable, we can partially understand through the concept that the Lord has three main types of energies: A, internal; B, marginal; and C, external. Three types of energies: heat, light, and fire. Although situated in one place, a fire can distribute its light and heat for some distance. Similarly, the absolute personality. Similarly, the absolute personality of Godhead, although fixed in his transcendental abode, can diffuse his different energies everywhere. Right? So this concept of Shakti and Shaktiman is very essential to our philosophy because everything is Krishna's energy. And that's why Krishna can remain transcendent, yes, yet be present through his energy everywhere. Krishna's own form is his Swarupa Shakti. His pastimes are his Leela Shakti. His qualities are his Guna Shakti. And what the impersonalists are doing is they're trying to appreciate God without his energies. They're saying God is simply oneness, no description, no qualities. So yes, if you remove all the energies, that's what you get, the impersonal Brahman. But that is lower than Krishna, God with his qualities. And one of his energies is his material energy. And Krishna says this is the separated energy. It is still his energy, but it's more distant. Just like the going to the analogy of the fire, the smoke is also the energy of the fire. Yet it lacks the brilliant and the light of the fire. It's completely of a different nature. It comes from the fire, but it's smoky and it floats up. It kind of separates itself. And though it's still connected, it separates itself. So in the same way, when we are in the material energy, we are like the smoke that is not connecting itself with the fire and therefore loses its brilliance. But if we come back to the fire and we connect with it, then we become brilliant again. Just like a spark of fire, when it's connected with the fire, it's brilliant. But when it separates, then it becomes extinguishes. The four characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is fixed in one place, but he is the swiftest. He can't be approached even by the demigods. He's localized but controls all parts of the creation. He is the most excellent Bhagavan. So, this is the inconceivable oneness and difference. This is how Krishna is the resolution of all contradictions. All contradictions can rest in Krishna without contradiction. How is that? He's in one place, yet he's everywhere. He's the fastest. He can't be approached by the demigods, but he can be approached by us. He's localized, but controls all parts of the creation. So, so how great he is. He's so transcendent. He can't be approached by the demigods, yet he's present in this world and present for his devotees. And here, Prabhupada talks about impersonalism and personalism, which Prabhupada is so keen to clarify. I mean, we should be so intent on this point, because I was just listening to another class. The verse was about so many things, but Prabhupada immediately went to the point of impersonalism, that God is not just impersonal. The fourth mantra of Sri Isopanisad very clearly suggests that the absolute truth is ultimately the absolute person. Otherwise, there would have been no need to mention so many details in support of his personal features. So Prabhupada says that if God is impersonal, why is the Isopanishad saying that he's localized? You just say, no, he's spread everywhere, he's present everywhere, and that's it. But it's drawing the contradiction. Why? Because Krishna is not just mixed in this universe. He is a person. This impersonalism is the greatest traversity. It's the greatest calamity in this world. And this is why Prabhupada, class after class, was destroying this impersonalism. Because the ultimate goal of life is love for God, is love for Krishna. And if we forget or we deny that Krishna is a person, how can we love him? Right? Love is the ultimate goal, prema pumartha mahan. But impersonalism undermines that, not even just for Krishna, even amongst us. If you are light and I am light and we're all one light, how can we love each other? How can we have relationships? How can we have feelings? And love means two. And I once asked a very famous impersonalist who came to Oxford University, I asked her that you were so enthusiastic about this impersonal philosophy, but doesn't this mean that it denies the possibility, the future, the existence of love? And because she was an academic, she was like, you have to be a little rational when you can't be like a preacher. You have to be a scholar, and so you have to like logically argue why one philosophy is better than the other, or why your philosophy is good. She was very frustrated by that question, very frustrated, like literally like pulling out her hair and almost in tears, because she was like, no, 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 you can still have love. I said, but how can you have love? Love means selfless for the other. Otherwise, it's what do they call it when you just love yourself? There's a word for it.
Narcissist?
Yeah, narcissism, right? It's just narcissism then. You're just, if you say, because at one point she said, well, that Brahman is love. That is love itself. But that's not love. That's not that, then it may be, but then you're speaking of a different word. I'm talking about the word love. You're talking about a different word. Love means selfless. Love means sacrifice. Love means service and an exchange between two people. Then you're calling narcissism love, but that's not the same word in the English vocabulary. So it is a fact. Impersonalism means there's no love. And this is our problem in the material world, that we are very impersonal. And as a devotee, the first thing is we have to realize Krishna is a person. God is a person. We can love God. And when we understand that, then we can be persons to each other. And as we advance in bhakti, as the anarthas go away, then actually it is a fact we are becoming more and more personal, right? The problem, offenses happen, the anarthas happen, especially you see maybe some new devotees when they join. The anarthas happen when people are impersonal. We don't value the devotees. We think that Krishna is there. I have my seva to Krishna in the temple, and it is so nice. And why do I need devotees? Or what is the value of these devotees? But as we advance, we say, oh, this is the value, what they are giving us, how much I need them for my Krishna consciousness. Because when I'm out of that association, not even very advanced devotees, but even just devotees, because when I'm out of their association, it's worse. When I'm out of their association, then I forget Krishna and I fall into Maya. When I'm with them, there's also problems, but when I'm without them, it's worse. That's why I think it was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur we covered in Nectar of Devotion, right? Or was it Rupa Goswami? He said that it is better to be in a in a um, in a prison, in bars, or be attacked by jackals and lions and scorpions than to be in the association of non-devotees, or to be without the association of devotees, right? Better to be in jail with a devotee than to be outside of jail without any devotees. Because the devotee will help us come to Krishna. They will remind us of Krishna. Even when they argue, they will remind us of Krishna. Of course, we shouldn't. We should try to develop the 26 qualities of a devotee. We should try to be more humble than a blade of grass and more tolerant than a tree. And we have to remind ourselves of that every single day. But that um, the point is that we understand the value that alone we cannot make it to Krishna. So that is personalism. Personalism is not just a philosophy, but personalism is a practice. And that's why in every class, Prabhupada, even to his very senior and seasoned devotees, was talking about impersonalism and personalism. Because personalism makes us advance in bhakti, the practice of personalism. All right, now text 5 further clarifies the qualities of the Lord and further establishes Krishna as a person. Tade jati tannai jati tadure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasyasya bahyata. Tade jati tannai jati tadure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasyasya bahyata. The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but he is very near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is outside of everything. Sometimes these verses can come across like, oh, these are just the play of words. It sounds very good. But no, this is now Prabhupada explains all the qualities of Krishna. These are the true qualities of Krishna. That Krishna is present everywhere. He's far away, yet he's within our heart. He's far, far away, millions of miles away in the sun, even beyond that in the spiritual world, yet he's within our heart. He's within every atom, yet he's outside. He's not limited to the atom, he's outside in the spiritual world. Krishna walks everywhere in Golok Dham to his devotees in Vaikuntha, yet Krishna does not walk as Mahavishnu, he's lying there. I sometimes wonder, like, doesn't he need to get up and, like stretch out? He doesn't need to. He's always lying there. Causal ocean, no problem. Mantra 5 continues this discussion describing that the Lord has inconceivable potencies which render him unknowable to those whom he does not favor. So Krishna's unknowable, but he's knowable to the devotee. Krishna's knowable to the devotee, but he's unknowable to everyone else. Like some people say, you can't know God. God is beyond all words. He's all beyond all, actions and all, he's beyond everything. We're true, but that's for you, my dear sir, because you don't want to be a devotee. That's why you are feeling, you have a true feeling that God is unknowable. Don't talk about him. Don't try to describe him, because God, by very definition, has to be beyond all words and all descriptions and the supreme. That is true. If you are trying to describe God, then he's beyond all words. But if God is describing himself, then if he's unlimited and all powerful, he's free to do whatever he likes. If he's describing himself and he's truly all powerful, then he should be able to describe himself and reveal himself to his devotee. So we cannot know him, we cannot attain him, but he can reveal himself to whomever he likes. And that person who he likes to is his devotee. And that's why we're trying to be his devotee. This is why the descending process is so important. We should not try to see God. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj says, don't try to see God, but act in such a way that God wants to see you. That is a descending process. That when we serve so nicely, when we hear and chant about Krishna so nicely, then Krishna wants to see us. And that's true revelation. Then we can know him. Mantra 5 illuminates the Lord's inconceivable spiritual nature. At any time, the Lord can be present both within the material and spiritual worlds. So Krishna is within each universe as Mahavishnu, but yet he's not in a material universe. And he's also outside in his Golok Dham. And that is the description of the spiritual sky. You see, this here is the material world, and Krishna, these are all the Vaikuntha planets, but then Krishna comes within the material world. And then from the pores of his body, though he's completely spiritual, the material universes emanate. And then within each universe, he's there. Imagine how much he is present. Within each universe, he's there. And then within every heart and every atom, he is present as Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So you have Karanadakshay Vishnu or Mahavishnu, you have Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and you have Kshirodakshai Vishnu. This is Karanadakshay Vishnu, this is Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and the Lord within our heart is Kshirodakshai Vishnu.
Prabhuji, can you repeat one more time?
Yes. So
Thank you.
the Lord, the Vishnu from whose body all the universes emanate, that is Karanadakshay Vishnu or Mahavishnu. Then within each universe, the Lord then manifests himself. And that's the place where the demigods go to when they need help. They can't go beyond the universe. They're demigods within this universe. They go to Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who's lying on the causal ocean. And then the Vishnu that's within our heart, he then expands and then manifests within every heart. That is Kshirodakshai Vishnu. And imagine Mahavishnu is Vishnu within this universe. I mean, within not the universe, sorry, within the material creation. So that's Mahavishnu from whose pores of body all the universe are emanating. These are the Vishnus just in the material creation, itself. But what to speak of the millions of Vishnus who are in the spiritual, worlds, the Vaikuntha planets. There is Narayan, he is there present. And given its Balaram Purnima again, all of these Narayan forms are expansions of Lord Balaram. They're not direct expansions of Krishna. They're expansions of Lord Balaram. And Balaram is basically non-different than Krishna, right? Just difference of color, Prabhupada said. And in the spiritual world, then you have Krishna and Balaram, like Golok Dham. And this is also the spiritual world here. All of these are also spiritual worlds. But in the Golok Dham, you have Krishna and Balaram. And there, Krishna is manifesting in his millions of prakash forms. So when he dances with the millions of gopis, that it's not that they have to wait for their turn after millions of days to dance with Krishna. No, he expands himself in millions of forms so he can dance with each gopi separately. So we were reading a text yesterday that Krishna has his prakash forms and his vilasa forms. So these Vishnus are his vilasa forms because they are Krishna, but the form has changed. Now he's four arms and lying in a cosmic ocean. Each Narayan form is slightly different. So those are the vilas forms. But in the spiritual world, when he kind of multiplies himself, then those are the prakash forms. So yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. 1 second, I'll just take a Hare Krishna. Yes. Sorry. All right. So now we are doing mantra 5, which is telling us the inconceivable nature of his potencies. And practically in our sadhana bhakti, this inconceivable nature can also be seen in worshiping the deity. When the Lord appears in this material world, such as in the deity or his holy name, for the sake of revealing himself to us and accepting our service, foolish people conclude that he has accepted a material form. They cannot understand the Lord's ability to convert material energy to spiritual energy, as he is the source and controller of both of them. Right? So Krishna can transform spiritual energy into material energy and material energy into spiritual energy. So this is the inconceivable aspect of the Lord is manifest, is understood by the worship of the deity. Just like Shaligram Shila, right? This is so inconceivable. And I was asking His Holiness Hanumat Preshak Maharaj, how do we understand that in the Gandaki River, there's millions of Shaligram Shila. In that whole town, you'll find these stones from the river, which are all Shaligram. All over the place, people are using those stones to build houses, to make their huts. I mean, it's like it's the local stone, yet it's Shaligram. You can see, so they have like the marks of the Shaligram. How can the Lord manifest himself in so many Shaligram forms? And the thing about Shaligram Shila is that it is the Lord. Like in the deity, you worship the deity and then the Lord manifests. But Shaligram, the stone itself, like Giriraj, is described to be the Lord himself. So I asked him, like, if it's being misused, then how does the Lord manifest? If that stone is being used for construction rather than for worship, which some of the locals don't understand the value. don't understand the presence of the Lord, how does it work? And he said it's very inconceivable. It's only the Lord knows how he does it, how he's manifest at the same time. It depends also on our worship and how he, connects with each devotee through the Shaligram Shila. So, in terms of the deity, Krishna's connecting. In terms of the holy name, until we realize the spiritual nature of the holy name, for us or for someone else, it's a material sound. Just like you have Ram trucks, right? So everyone is saying Ram, 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 Ram. Just like they say Hari Ram when they, Americans speak that. For them, it's just a name, yet they're getting spiritual benefit. The Chaitanya Charitamrita says that even if you say R-A-M, Ram, in any way, in any word, if it's part of that, you get spiritual benefit. You get spiritual benefit. And the Lord is connecting through those letters. He makes them spiritual vibrations when they are his name. So in so many ways, Krishna is connecting, and it's truly beyond our understanding. It's inconceivable how he's doing that. All we can do is really our part, is be more sincere, follow the principles and the rules and regulations set down in the scriptures. And if we do that, then Krishna, through so many ways, connects with us in the ways that he has given us to connect with him. Thus, to the surrendered soul, he is very near, but to the unsurrendered, he is very far. Right? So he's very near, yet he's very far. And this is such a nice, these paintings are so nice. Prabhupada said they're windows to the spiritual world. We see that to the devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, he could just come to Lord Nrsimhadev, to the Lord, and embrace him, touch his feet. He was so near and dear to the Lord. But to someone like Hiranyakashipu, he was performing intense austerities, yet he was so far away. So far away. All of his austerities were useless. It's amazing. This was not planned, but we are seeing so many, because these verses connect so well with the pastime of Lord Nrsimhadev. But it's amazing that this film has just come out and we are talking about this. It's really shaking a lot of hearts around the world. Like, people are touched by it and watching the film again and again, because it's Krishna Katha. It's based on the Bhagavatam. It's based on, advice from the devotees from Bhagavatam, Vishnu Puran, and this movie producer. He was influenced by some very advanced devotees like Gauranga Prabhu and others, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, other preachers in Bombay. They somehow have brought him into Krishna consciousness, the film producer. And thus he made a mainstream Bollywood, this is like mainstream media film of the pastimes of Lord Nrsimhadev. This is historic because it's the first time that the books are turning into films, mainstream films. There's many films, but mainstream films. Nowadays, people don't read so much. They watch a lot of movies. And so when we spread Krishna consciousness through movies, then millions of people will be touched by it and affected by it and connected through it. So one way is to become a big film producer yourself and preach Krishna consciousness, which is very difficult. You've got to be very lucky, right people, right time. You've got to be super wealthy. Another thing is to influence those who are already in those positions. And that is, sometimes easier, and that's very difficult, but it's better and easier because those people are already in those powerful positions. And this is what the success of this Krishna consciousness movement, that these leaders of society, the influencers, are being influenced by Krishna consciousness and making these films. So, and not just films, but other leading positions in government, prime ministers, ministers. And many devotees have said that when Krishna consciousness goes into the films, then the world will change more rapidly because people are going to it's going to access people in their in their bedrooms and when they're on the plane, they're watching movies. Who knows who's going to watch it? Millions of people. It goes on YouTube, and then eventually, and then people will see it there. And these pastimes, tava katham ritam tapta jivanam kavibiriditum karmasapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Bhuri Dajana. That these pastimes of the Lord, and the best being, literally one of the best being the pastimes of Lord Nrsingadev with Prahlad Maharaj, they are the remedy for the suffering conditioned souls of this material world. They are actually the panacea, the cure for all the ailments of this world. It's described that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he heard the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj and Lord Nrsingadev hundreds of times in his childhood. Because particularly these two pastimes of Lord Nrsingadev and Dhruva Maharaj have the potency of bestowing love for Krishna on the reader. Prabhupada says, even if one is not spiritually inclined, they can create the feeling of devotion. They can not just feeling, they can evoke the devotion within a person's heart who is not feeling devotional to Krishna, because of the power of these the pastimes of Krishna and his devotees. His greatest devotee being Prahlad Maharaj. So by hearing the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj and Nrsingadev, which was the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj are the most lectured part of the Bhagavatam by Srila Prabhupada, right? So even Srila Prabhupada, again and again, he spoke upon the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. By hearing those things, people's hearts automatically will change. They will gradually change. And it's described that Lord Nrsingadev is not just an avatar of Krishna. The reason also why these are such a special narration, because Krishna did not incarnate to protect his devotee Prahlad. When the devotee is in difficulty, the Lord does not incarnate. The Lord personally comes himself. So when Lord Nrsingadev came, it was Krishna coming on with the mask of a lion. It was not his avatar. So this is Krishna himself coming in this form of Lord Nrsingadev. So Krishna, and why this pastime is being described in the course of this text? Because Hiranyakashipu thought that God is, even if there is a God, he didn't think there was any God, but even if there is a God, God is there, up there in heaven somewhere, right? In the spiritual world somewhere. But Prahlad Maharaj showed him that no, Krishna's right in this pillar. He's right here. You just cannot see him. But he told his father, I can see him. And if we want to see him, then Krishna's there. Most visibly within our heart, he's there. We were just reading in the Bhagavatam, in the Gita, that the devotee is constantly seeing the Lord within his heart. And therefore he cannot bear not seeing the Lord, even for one moment. So the devotee understands that the Lord is present in everywhere. He walks, but does not walk. He is far away, but very close also. He is far away, but for Prahlad Maharaj, he was right there. He's outside everything, but he's inside everything. He's inside the pillar. And therefore, he can burst out of a pillar and manifest himself as well. So here, again, in this text, Prabhupada talks about impersonalism versus personalism. Achintya bheda bheda tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. With our limited fund of knowledge, we cannot accommodate such contradictions, and therefore we conceive of the Lord in terms of our limited powers of understanding. For example, the impersonalist philosophers of the Mayavad school accept only the Lord's impersonal activities and reject his personal feature. But the members of the Bhagavata school, adopting the perfect conception of the Lord, accept his inconceivable potencies and thus understand that he is both personal and impersonal. The Bhagavatas know that without inconceivable potencies, there can be no meaning to the words Supreme Lord. So nice. Krishna's his glory is his inconceivable, unlimited potencies. Like, for example, here we're talking more in terms of abstract ways, right? But in a more concrete way, one of his potencies in the spiritual world is that he's 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 designed the spiritual world in such a way that it's like a lotus flower, and it's open like this, like a lotus flower, and it's millions of miles. Like this little earth is like not even a speck compared to Golok Dham. Golok Dham, Vrindavan Dham, we think of it as a small place, Krishna, the gopis, Mother Yashoda, but the population there is far greater than the population on planet Earth, millions of times greater. So there's millions and billions and trillions of devotees because the entire material world is only 25% of the spiritual world, or less. Krishna Prabhupada says someplace 10%, just like a prison house, a small little place in comparison to the city. So the spiritual world is like a lotus and accommodates all these living beings. But then when Krishna needs to get from point A to point B, he doesn't have to, take a flight and, wait on an airplane for 5 hours to get to the next destination. What it is that lotus flower can close. He can make it closed. And then, if a lotus is open, then to get from your thumb to the to your pinky finger, long distance, right? But if you close it, then it's right there. So he can get from Gokul to Varsana, where Srimati Radharani is, in 1 second, but he just walks over. He closes the lotus and walks over. And everyone else feels it's all the same because everyone's like, let's say, standing on the petals. For them, everything is the same. But for him, it becomes a 1 minute walk. Or for whoever, him and his friends, the cowherd boys, they've been in the forest. Now he wants to get back home. In 1 second, he can reach back home. Through his Yogamaya potency, he can expand himself in millions of forms and connect with every single devotee there. Not just the gopis, we think, okay, he expands himself during the rasa dance, but with every flower and every animal and every cow in the spiritual world. Krishna is personally interacting with every bee and bumblebee and bird in the spiritual world. He's so wonderful, and it's all his inconceivable potencies. So how can we deny the Lord has these potencies? This is the very meaning of Leela, or pastime. Krishna's mystical, magical pastimes are all orchestrated by his internal Yogamaya potency. And it is his own potency. It rests upon him. He can make one night the night of Lord Brahma. For everyone else, it's an 8-hour night. But for him and the gopis, it becomes a night of Brahma, which is 311 that's sorry, 4 point something 8 billion years is one day of Brahma, the same time as the night, and that's how long it is. He's dancing with them for billions of years, right? We say Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, and this whole Kali Yuga is about 5,000 years, and before that Dvapar, such, but there's no 4.8 billion years in Kali Yuga, or in Dvapar Yuga, sorry, in Dvapar Yuga. But in Krishna's one night, 4.8 billion years was manifest simply by his unlimited potency. We should not take it for granted that because we cannot see God with our eyes, the Lord has no personal existence. Shri Isopanisad refutes this argument by declaring that the Lord is far away, but very near also. He is the eternal form, the primeval Lord. His impersonal aspect, or Brahman effulgence, is but the glow of his personal rays, just as the sun's rays are the glow of the sun. Although there is oneness, the Lord in his personal form still enjoys unlimitedly all the pleasures enjoyed minutely by the tiny part and parcel living entities. So what is the oneness? What is the oneness? There's also oneness, Prabhupada here is saying. The oneness is a oneness in essence. Everything in essence is the Lord. It is his energy. The oneness is that that Krishna is present in all things, in all places, in all people. Krishna's presence is there. The oneness is there in oneness of desire, a oneness of intention, right? Just like the sun rays and the sun are oneness, are one in their fundamental quality. And that's why Prabhupada said oneness in quality. But he's still individual. He still enjoys his personal form and the pleasures of personally interacting with each and every tiny living entity. So Krishna does not lack the pleasures that we enjoy. If we enjoy them, then Krishna should also enjoy them. The effect is always present in the source. And that's the end of text 5. So we will stop here. We covered 2 texts today, and that's wonderful achievement. 4 and 5. Next time we will do number 6. Okay, so if there's any comments, questions, Bimal Bhakti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The question is not related to this, but one thing you mentioned about the Shaligram Shilas and the river. Which river you mentioned, Prabhu?
It's Gandaki River. That's the river in Nepal, by
Oh.
Muktinath. There's this very sacred place. I mean, Nepal today used to be India before, right? So it's all part of Bharat Varsha. So Bangladesh also very holy places there. That whole area, where and even Sri Lanka, like that's where Lord Ramchandra went. And so many pastimes went outside the borders of what today is known as India. So one such very sacred place is the Gandaki River. There's also a place there called Muktinath. It's up in the mountains. It's very much like Badrinath, Kedarnath. The sages have resided there. So that's the place. Yes.
Okay. And and then the Shaligram are also available like from the Govardhan Parvat?
So that's not Shaligram, that's Giriraj.
That
And
is,
Giriraj is even more powerful than Shaligram because Shaligram are like forms of Vishnu generally, like Sankarshan, Vishnu, um, um, Anantashesh. You also have, Gopal Shilas and Krishna Shilas, but Giriraj is actually, Shamasundar Krishna. And Giriraj is walked by Krishna himself. Giriraj is non-different than Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. So it's very intimate, very, you could say, much in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. Shaligram also depends which Shaligram you have, but all of Giriraj is like that. So Giriraj is very, very special. Yes.
okay. There is one other question. So also for the for Nrsimhadev, it was Krishna. He was Krishna himself, not the incarnation. But still, we celebrate Nrsimha Appearance Day. So yesterday, I was just thinking like about Jagannath ji. We never have Jagannath Appearance Day. I think that was just the form Krishna made.
Yes.
So it was a little bit confusing for me.
Yes. So Lord Jagannath is Krishna in a particular mood. It's not Krishna being born as Jagannath. Right? One time in Dwarka, Krishna becomes overcome in separation, in ecstasy, in thinking of the Brajvasis. While he's in Dwarka, he misses the Brajvasis so much because he's left them, but his heart is still there. And so that time his eyes become very big, his hands go in, and he becomes Jagannath. He takes the form of Jagannath. So that's why it's a particular mood of the Lord. It's not a specific separate form of the Lord.
So
It's not.
then why, like for Nrsimha, how we celebrate the Nrsimha appearance day if that is, I understand that that is
Yes.
not the incarnation of Lord,
Because
but
it's Krishna himself coming, just like when he appears in Vrindavan,
Mhm.
Krishna is the same Krishna as in the spiritual world, right? Krishna here in Vrindavan is the same Vrindavan Krishna in the Golok Dham. But Krishna is appearing,
Mhm.
is manifesting himself, appearing in the
Yeah.
material world, and therefore we are celebrating Janmashtami. In the same way, though it is, we are saying Nrsimhadev is not an incarnation, he's Krishna himself coming, but he's appearing as Nrsimhadev. So before he was not there, then he appears, so to say. In that form, he's appearing, right? Jagannath is Krishna, so he's already appeared. It's just Krishna in a specific emotion, right? It's not a different form of Krishna. But Nrsimhadev, it's Krishna 100%, but it's still Krishna in a different form. Just like Krishna may dress differently, but he's appearing at that time. He's not, it's not like he's already there in the material world.
Mhm.
He just has a
Mhm.
different emotion,
Right.
right?
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Nice question, actually. This is a very subtle point. But yes, thank you. Hare Krishna. So, Janya Matji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I think your conversation just answered my question a bit,
Hmm.
but still I would like to just uh, maybe further clarification or something, an
Hmm.
extra addition or something.
Hmm.
So all these days we have been, at least I have been understanding or learning only one thing in this way.
Hmm.
Like we have the Dashavataras and all the Dashavataras are the form of Vishnu.
Hmm.
But
Hmm. Hmm.
so now
Right.
in our
So,
session,
yes. So, even if that's the case, the point is that Vishnu is coming from Krishna. That is what the scriptures say. In other words, Vishnu is coming from Balaram and Balaram is coming from Krishna. So therefore, the correct understanding is that all the avatars are ultimately coming from Krishna, not from Vishnu, because Vishnu himself is an avatar of Krishna. Now, in India, many times people think of it in the other way around, just because in the jail, Vishnu appears first and then Krishna appears. But the reason why Vishnu appears first is he wanted to give Vasudeva and Devaki the confidence that God is appearing. If he just came as a baby, then they might think he's a baby. They may not realize his power and his strength. So just to give them courage, because they're very afraid of Kansa at that time. Kansa was such a terror. He
mm-hmm,
came as Vishnu to show, yes, this is God with his club and disc. But actually, the Bhagavatam tells us, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. There's no difference between Vishnu and Krishna. So ultimately, they're the same person. It's a useless discussion in one way. It's a useless argument. But technically, in terms of the completeness of God, Krishna is the source, because all the rasas are present in Krishna, Madhurya, Dasya, Sakya. But Lord Vishnu is only manifesting one rasa, and that is Aishwarya, and therefore Dasya. Therefore, he's Krishna, but not showing all of his energies. And that's again to the point of energies. That the more limited the energies, the less original, so to say. Krishna is the only form of the Lord that manifests all the energies of Krishna. All the aspects of God are manifest in Krishna. In other forms, it's also him, but he's not revealing everything.
mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes. So the example is like when I go to work, then people there are seeing one aspect of me, Gopal Gupta at his work. But they don't see the other aspects, like the kirtan or the chanting or, eating, all these things. But when a person is at home, they see all aspects. At home, you're eating, you're sleeping, you're chanting, you're also working. So the
Mm-hmm.
realization of knowing someone in their intimacy is greater than the realization of knowing them in their formal form.
Okay. Yeah. And also, you mentioned just before that the Krishna in Vrindavan is same as the Krishna in Golok.
Mm. Well, it's also the same place.
Yeah,
Golok
yeah.
Vrindavan in the spiritual world descends along with Krishna. So it's the same abode. Krishna is just manifesting it here for our benefit.
Okay.
Technically speaking, there's a slight difference because his pastimes in the spiritual world are slightly different than his pastimes in the material world. The acharyas explain us, but the person Krishna is the same. He's the same person.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Pankaj Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Just one question. So there was one comment in one of the shlokas which mentioned internal energy, marginal energy, and external energy. So I was trying to interpret internal energy means spiritual energy, marginal energy means ourselves, and then external energy means spiritual world. Does that make sense or no?
So thank you. I forgot we have to define that. So internal energy means Krishna's spiritual world, his leelas, his pastimes, all of these things are done by his internal potency. Marginal energy, like you said, is tatashta. That is us, because we can be connected with the spiritual energy, the internal energy, and the external energy, which is the material energy, the material creation. So the external energy is the material world. That is the earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence. That is the material creation. Therefore, we are tatashta. Therefore, we are marginal because we can go in either direction. So external energy doesn't refer to the spiritual world, but it refers to the material world. Yeah, that's the
Thank you,
material.
Prabhuji. Yeah,
Thank you.
one more question I have, and I don't know others, but I always get confused between Krishna and Vishnu. So I have highlighted few shlokas from Bhagavad Gita as well, which clearly define what you explained earlier. Is there any detailed or good shloka that you remember from Bhagavatam that can explain various forms of Vishnu?
The various forms of Vishnu.
Yeah, the three types we talked about, right? Mahavishnu,
Okay.
Garbhodaya Vishnu, and then
Karanadakshay Vishnu. Yes.
it's kind of always
Yes.
complex for me, and I always get confused. Yeah.
Yes. So this is actually explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the
Oh, okay.
first few chapters of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada explains it. In the Bhagavatam, it's almost like, I mean, it's totally there, but it's almost like assumed that you know it. So they talk about Kshirodakshai Vishnu and Mahavishnu in terms of the description of creation in the second canto and third cantos. But it's the distinctions are not obvious. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, all the acharyas and Goswamis in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, they're explaining the Bhagavatam. Like they're like, okay, so this is what it means, this is how we understand it. And so that's done in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And there's no specific verse that comes to mind, but there's a chapter there, the features of the absolute truth, something like that. And that chapter is there.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thanks for clarification.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. So Haripriya, we are ready for you. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. I was not able to write much today because I was a bit late and I had to go in the middle, but I will try. So the inconsistent and also, bro, what does Karan Vishnu do again?
Karanadakshay Vishnu is the Vishnu who lies, who the first Vishnu in the material creation, from whose body all the universes emanate. So the universes come from him. And Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the Vishnu that enters each universe. And Kshirodakshay Vishnu is the Vishnu that enters each heart, an atom. Kshirodakshay goes in every single one. Yes.
Okay. So we saw that now the inconceivable Lord cannot be approached by our limited means, you gave the example of Yashoda Mata, although she is the mother of the Lord in his Leela, but still she was amazed by seeing the Lord's while seeing the whole universe in the Lord's mouth, and the Lord's abode is internal energy, and when the conditioned soul, who is marginal energy, wants to enjoy separate from the Lord, he comes to the material world, which is the external energy. and contradictions can be in the Lord, even though He does not has any contradiction. And the absolute truth is the absolute person. And then in mantra 5 we saw that the Lord, he is he has different things, like he walks, but he also does not walk. And when he's far, he's also near, and when he's inside, he's also outside. And mantra 5, it is like an illustration of his inconceivable potencies. And my last point is that if we cannot see God, does not mean that he does not exist. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Haripriya. Thank you. Such a nice summary. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll continue next time from verse 6. And I've shared the homework and the study guide. The study guide is nice, actually. And please keep reading and keep completing the homework and studying Prabhupada's books. Thank you. See you then. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Thank you.
pranam,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Thank you.
Prabhu.
Dandvat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.